are the same. So, who's the monster?
Hello and happy Saturday here on this January the 20th, 2024, here on the Super Mater Brothers podcasting. We are in for our next edition of the Merry Mater Marvel Society to review yet another Marvel Cinematic Universe entry. This time, the miniseries Echo, which had 6 episodes that came out on January 9th, a couple weeks ago. We're just getting around to our review tonight. I'm Dave Mater, and I'm joined with Jaemeel Robinson.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Just to clarify, this is not an MCU title. This is a Marvel Spotlight show.
Meaning this is not canon?
It is canon, but it's separate in terms of it does not heavily influence the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So a lot of people were complaining that why are we doing these TV shows which, aren't addressing what's happening with the next plot? And they're like, okay, if you're complaining about that, we'll clearly establish what is moving the universe plot along and what is contained in terms of really only looking at what is happening with these individual characters and not really what's happening like outside as a greater whole.
So you're saying that this is not required reading?
Not necessarily.
Right. This is optional. If you're a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's connected, but it's not important.
Yeah, it isn't a chapter you need to really focus on, is what they're saying.
Okay.
Well, in terms of the grander story, it's important. The individual chapter might be important to the characters involved, but not necessarily to the grand when's the Avengers coming type of question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're here to break this down. Davan Skelhorn will be joining us as soon as his daughter goes to bed. We'll see when that happens. But we're expecting him here in a few. So this show features a character named I guess the comic book name Echo, but Maya Lopez being the real name of the character who we met in the Hawkeye show. I don't know if that's a mini series or a season 1. I think that they maybe were going to do another season, but after Jeremy Renner's accident, I don't know if we are going to ever get a second season of the Hawkeye show. Maybe, but that's where
Hawkeye doesn't necessarily need Jeremy Renner.
Hawkeye, no, because we set up the new Kate Bishop character, right? Yeah. So not necessarily. We're going to be talking about the show and what we thought about it. If you don't want to know what this Marvel Spotlight, spoilers, ahoy. But we're talking about all that. So yeah, this character, we met in that show. I understand that she's a comic book character who is deaf in the comic books. Am I correct in saying?
To my knowledge, yes. You're under the impression that I'm well versed in this character outside of this, and I'm not.
Well, I think that's probably where Davin's going to come in once he joins us. I think he knows a little bit more about this, maybe not. She's kind of a comic book character, my understanding, but kind of maybe an anti-hero, not a traditional like superhero, but lives in the superhero world. So we saw in that show. In Hawkeye, that is, that her father was this guy who ran the tracksuit mafia and was killed seemingly by Clint Barton, Hawkeye,
as Ronin
when he was in his Ronin period during the blip or the snap, whatever you'd like to call it. But at the end of that show, it was revealed no, it wasn't Jeremy Renner who did it or Clint Barton. It was actually the Kingpin, who was the boss of the tracksuit mafia. So Maya Lopez had seemingly shot. I guess she did. She shot the Kingpin in the face at the end of that show, in the final episode of that show. So setting this up. And so then we come into the show where I guess, she's on the outs with some of the Kingpin organization. She goes back to her hometown in Oklahoma. We get a lot of her backstory. Because I guess in the Hawkeye show, she was mostly like this sort of formidable, I don't know, like gun for hire, under the Kingpin's regime. Okay, well, I'll stop it there. Davin's here. Welcome, Davan.
Oh, indeed.
You should have said, let's pass it over to the. Are we getting the distant echoes of Davan? See,
are we
smiled.
getting?
I see. I knew he would like that.
When we pull out some Echo issues, I guess some Echo stuff. Yeah.
So you're familiar with this character as a comic book character?
Oh yeah, she showed up quite a bit in the Brian Michael Bendis Daredevil run.
Daredevil, okay.
And a lot of her issues had some beautiful painted artwork by, I believe,
David Mack.
Yeah,
David Mack is
great,
awesome.
Great stuff. I used to have them on my wall. Actually, there was like 3 of them with Echo on the cover, and they were beautiful. I would have them on my wall as like a kind of collage.
Okay, and so you
might
know
be time to put them back up. Yeah,
I'm sorry, but yeah, you know about the source material more so than
sure.
Jaemeel or I, it seems. And so I guess my question for you is like, what was the biggest, or a couple, maybe there's more than one, but the biggest differences you saw between comic book Echo and this on-screen Echo that we got?
Well, I mean, she's not an amputee in the comics.
Okay. But she is deaf
that'd be the
in the comic
biggest
books.
difference. She is deaf. Yeah. That's why it's interesting that she's in Daredevil comics. He's blind, she's deaf, and they struck up a relationship, So it was very interesting.
They had a fight in this show. In the first.
No, they fights in the comics too.
Yeah.
Did you want a buddy TV show or movie with Daredevil and Echo teaming up like Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor and Hear No Evil, See No Evil?
See No Evil? Yes. In fact, I do want that. But other than that, there was a slight change in her relationship with Kingpin, whereas similar, like he calls her his niece, but I don't recall in the comics him raising her like they. So
it's only referred to that
actively.
She was the adopted daughter.
Yeah.
Which, how they refer to that would have to be. You would have to look up the specific references for that.
Yeah. I haven't read those issues in a while. I'll have to pull them out. I mean, it's Bendis; they're wordy.
And her powers are different too. I understand.
Yeah, I actually like what they did here quite a bit. The MCU didn't need another mimic. I mean, there's even more mimics that could come. Like, there's a ton of characters that mimic other mutants' powers or other people's powers, like Taskmaster for one.
Right.
So
who we saw in Black Widow.
Who's just kind of a street level fighter, and Echo is sort of just a street level fighter who copies powers. It would have been basically the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't really like their
and in this show
that much.
She ends like she's kind of a capable street fighter. That's how we're introduced to her from the beginning. But then she ends up being sort of tied in with the mystical or powers of her tribe, the Choctaw Nation. I understand.
Isn't it up for debate? Exactly.
Sure, but like I guess that's what I took away from the show. And the other thing was they changed the tribe. I think in the show.
I'm not sure what she was in the comics.
In the comics, she was.
This is the wrong background here. Oh my, that's the Kahori background.
We're still on the old one
right now.
The Chanae.
There we go. But so I loved that character actually in those old issues, those old Daredevil issues. So when they said now Echo's probably since the release of the show, or at least the production of it, they have made her more of a big deal in comics. Like she was even recently like the Phoenix. She was inhabited of the Phoenix Force, and now and an Avenger and all this stuff. So she's big time now. But
okay, so the character, because I was like, who is Echo? I'm not as much of a comic book reader. Well, certainly not as David, and I think Jaemeel's somewhere in between. But if I'm correct,
I think Jaemeel keeps up with me just fine, if not more.
Okay,
He probably reads more independent than I do.
I like a comic book, but I don't read week to week or follow everything that goes on. So
I usually have a book nearby to my hand. Just reach out like.
Yeah, you have lots. Okay. Now, I was a bit surprised right from the initial announcement that they were even making this show, just because I'm like, This is a character I don't know. This is a character that is introduced in a show, like because they already knew they were going to make out this spin-off before Hawkeye the show had come out. So I'm like, you don't even know if this character is going to be well received or not.
And she was not the standout in Hawkeye at all.
Yeah,
like
when you watch Hawkeye, she's not the
was?
takeaway. Oh, Yelena.
Yeah.
And Kate was
and
really
Kate too.
good
Yeah, I'd say that they were both really good in that show.
You know, Lucky the Pizza Dog.
Lucky
of course.
Dog.
Kate Bishop.
And a special shout out to the Tracksuit Mafia.
The Tracksuit bro.
Mafia. Yeah,
Bro.
like if you want to say like what was my least memorable part of that Hawkeye show, it's probably the Maya Lopez character.
No,
And
the
I
mom.
I agree.
The
She
mom
was
was
much better in this.
The mom and Jack of Swords.
The mom in
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
know that.
No, well, no. Swordsman was funny. I like Swordsman.
Yeah, so they
I will
they
defend
come out,
Swordsman.
yeah, so we've been waiting for the show well over a year. I think yes, because it says it was announced in 2021. And then it's finally come out here in 2024, early 2024. My understanding is that it was almost not released, and then apparently
They keep saying that about a lot of the shows, though. They say that about Ironheart. They say I don't know. I'm not buying.
Might be true, might not be.
I think all these things they start working on, they're gonna finish.
I think that it's a casualty of two different regimes. So you had the initial regime when a lot of the, I guess, quote unquote, glut of Marvel television projects for Disney Plus was being announced, where the Wakanda TV show plus the Armor Wars TV show, which is going to be a movie now, and
it's better that way.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that were put into the pipeline all at the same time.
Right.
So was it Agatha? And it's 1,000,001 title changes that it's had.
The Agatha, which is a WandaVision spinoff. And I was I was like, I don't need an Agatha show. I liked her in WandaVision, but I don't need every character to have their own solo show.
No,
so I'm of two.
I only need an. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm of two thoughts. We always say we don't want things to be reactionary based upon like, well, you like this, so we're going to give you more, and it's just like that is a sort of pandering in itself, right? Where now you have, well, we've written this story and we've processed a plot point, and you know what, we want to explore these characters more even before we know what the reaction of it is. There is a certain level of respect in artistry in that, where it's like, you know what, I feel passionate about this, that I want to continue this specific thread as opposed to another. So I do understand that there is an initiative for there to be more a diverse field of characters being followed, but it could have been as easily Elena. It could have been easily another Kate Bishop show. So
Elena's getting a movie.
Yeah, but the thought process is, you know what, we feel strongly about this character that we want to continue on with it, and I think it somewhat shows in terms of the product that we ended up getting.
Yeah, well, I would have rather you do like a Kingpin show, than this maybe specifically.
Well, that Daredevil's the Kingpin show,
right?
Daredevil Born Again is Kingpin as mayor of New York, and it's going to be
that's where that was like the post-credit scene at the end of the show.
Yeah,
was like, oh, well, so who's going to run for mayor, and it's implicated that it's going to be Wilson Fisk.
But Dave, you wouldn't want a Kingpin show because the entire time you're watching a Kingpin show, you're going to be like, "Where's Daredevil?"
Well, I consider Kingpin sort of a Spider-Man character as well. So
where's Spider-Man?
Where's Spider-Man? Yeah.
Like these questions are going to come up. So, and then it's like we got 13 episodes of Kingpin by himself, and Vincent D'Onofrio is an amazing D'Onofrio. Sorry, I'm catching a bit of the Murphy.
You are, and that's why I corrected you. It's just an instinct now.
I know. He's an amazing actor, but I think less is more. We do not want to just have him seem less special.
Yeah, I agree. And so, like I'm saying, I would do less is more. One of the big complaints in this new phase. What are we? Phase 5 now of MCU. I
4, isn't it?
4.
No,
or 5?
we're still in phase 5.
We're in phase 5.
Oh,
okay. And so I guess post Endgame, the complaint has been, well, there's just too many shows, too many movies. I can't keep up. I don't know what's going on because a lot of it went Disney Plus, and I think this is a symptom of it. But let's that aside,
can I speak to that for a second?
Mm-hmm.
because like one of the big complaints is that like if there's
Yeah.
too much and I can't keep up with it all. But
Right.
one of the complaints also is that it's not as connected as it was before. So what they're doing is they're creating more content, but making it so you don't have to watch it all if you don't want to.
Yeah.
But like that's also a complaint. So it's a sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Well, I think that the way they did it in the early stages was better. You know, you'll have like 3 or 4 solo movies, and then
That's
you
the
make
less is more. That's
the less is more, and team up, and you can have like all these characters. But like, I don't need a Rocket Raccoon show, even though I'm sure that would be good. But
I'd watch that.
I'd
watch
watch
the
it too. But like,
Rocket
don't-
You got 2 seasons of I Am Groot, so
I would watch.
yeah.
You were making a show of Beverly Crusher. I would go watch that too, but I don't think that they should do it. Like,
Ghosting.
Ghosted. Whoever, like any Star Trek character, any like sometimes it's about the team, more so than the individuals. But let's try to look at this show for what it is.
The
It's,
Wrath of Condals. They call it.
okay.
No? Not good?
Yes,
All right.
yes, it's great.
I don't. So you guys want to talk through this story, these episodes?
Oh,
I don't know.
Yes,
Where do you-
but there's
where do
one
we
thing I
start?
wanted to say
Sorry.
about her powers that we were talking about earlier, and then we got sidetracked. So I actually like, because before she was called Echo because she just echoed people's powers, but that's not what an echo is. That was more like bouncing back at you. They should have called her Boomerang. But like now it's just like that these powers of her ancestors echo through time to her. I think that's one kind of beautiful, and it was very heartfelt. Like some of those scenes were really good. Like I've seen some people slagging the last episode. For me, the last episode was the best one. But
I think the best one for
I
me
thought that was
probably the 4th episode that had a lot of Vincent D'Onofrio in it.
it kept picking up steam anyway. The series, the first couple episodes didn't.
First
quite
2
grab
episodes,
me.
I was bored.
Yeah,
Really?
Largely, yeah. Like it was.
they didn't quite grab me. I was still going, but I'm like, I hope there's more, and then there was.
Like I was mostly in the first couple episodes. I'm like, okay, like because we meet Maya's family, right, and we meet a couple cousins and her grandmother and her step grandfather and uncle and a bunch of characters. And her like cousin, her other cousin. She has like 2 cousins, and I was like,
it's like the guy who runs the bowling alley.
there's a guy that's her dad's brother.
You mean Ryu?
He's cool.
He's the uncle. Who?
I call him Ryu because I swear I looked at him like, is that Ryu from Street Fighter from 1994?
No, that wasn't Ryu from
looked
'94.
Just like him. He
Zon-
looked
a little
Zon
bit.
Mix-
A little bit.
different
Maybe.
people.
Who are we
It's
thinking
2 different
of?
people.
We're
But
talking about the Street Fighter movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's talking about the Ryu.
yeah.
They a little bit. Just
We're talking about Chasky Spencer, who played Henry Black Crow
Yeah,
Lopez
Black Crow.
in the show.
Yeah. You have Biscuits. You have Biscuits. Oh,
Her
was
like
it,
best friend /
Bonnie?
cousin Bonnie. Is that her name?
Bonnie. Yeah, Bonnie.
Bonnie. Yeah, I was not like, and we find out about her mother being killed when she was a kid because the brakes were cut on the car. And her, and that's partly because her father was in this criminal enterprise, and we saw this fracture of the family. And she went off to New York with her father, leaving the family in Oklahoma behind. So there's kind of like this whole thing of she's coming back to town. In the case of her uncle, who was her dad's brother, he's still in like the Wilson Fisk Kingpin empire, sort of, but he
used to be in New York, and he got exiled there. Well, he tried to escape.
couldn't get out.
Yeah, he tried to retire from the life, and Spencer Wilson Fisk wasn't have it. So
he got far enough away to still be under his thumb, but at least have a little bit of, away from that life. Yeah.
So just on this first episode, which a lot of this gets set up in, we also
Can we say a lot of the indigenous music is fantastic?
Oh gosh.
Okay, I didn't.
Oh, I loved it.
But
I thought
that's
it added. Like I love the one thing I think a lot of these Marvel's TV shows have been doing, even going back to Netflix, is like setting this great tone with music. Like I thought Luke Cage was great because of the music. Like,
so let me first say that this series felt more of a Netflix show than it did a MCU show, and you even see it in the title sequence as well. And it's focused particularly on a dominant color, right? Scheme that you saw. So just like how there was I think it was yellow for Luke Cage and green for Iron Fist and purple for Jessica Jones. You had that same type of dynamic for this. The title sequences, if you put them back to back, very similar, right? And I was like, "Where's the skip button?" Just like in Netflix in the corner. It had that same similar vibe, even in its content. Same similar vibe.
I would say that the intro song or whatever with the title credits at the beginning of that was like maybe my favorite thing in this whole experience of watching this. I was like, oh, okay, I like this intro song. So you're
not high on this show, Dave.
I am not high on the show.
Okay.
I am.
So for folks at home, Dave says,
I said that I'm trying to focus on the positives, and I liked the intro song. Whatever it was, it was fun. It was called Bernie by the Yeah Yeahs. Yeah Yeahs, I've heard of them.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember from what were they. Anyway, but I liked that. Some of the, I don't know. I was like, I think it was largely, it was like, I'm not invested in this character, so I'm trying to get into it. But
this is you. This is them trying to
bring it together. Okay.
In the character.
And there was a lot of flashbacks in this first episode to what had happened in Hawkeye, which had been almost 3 years, I think, or 2 years at least since I had seen it.
Which, if I might add, that's what they're going to do with these Marvel Spotlights. If you noticed at the beginning, it said Marvel Spotlight.
Yeah, and Jaemeel was
First
explaining.
time they've done that. Okay, so they're going to be more like Netflix. They're going to feel more like those Netflix shows, and they're going to be like introducing these obscure characters to you oftentimes.
Right. So
I do think Daredevil will be under that label just because it's going to be like R-rated and shit.
Yeah, well, apparently they made a whole Daredevil show and they canned the whole thing and they're starting from scratch, I understand.
Yeah, well, but from what I understand, it's for the better.
Yeah, they tried to make it a funny, goofy lawyer show and it wasn't working totally or something.
That's what Shulky's for. Give us a Shulky season 2.
Right, which he was in. Daredevil was also in. So maybe that's why that show ended up getting made in like maybe that She-Hulk tone, and they're like, no, this isn't right for the Daredevil character when he's by himself.
I never heard that it was made in the She-Hulk tone. I'm
projecting that on it, but I was told it was a goofy, fun, like Ally McBeal lawyer type show.
Really?
And
I've never heard that. I heard
kung fu in it or whatever
from its initial thing that it was going to be rated R, and it was 18 episodes. And what I've heard recently that is also changed, as well as some of the casting as well.
They're bringing Foggy back and everything.
Foggy and Karen.
Yeah, Foggy. I'm glad they're bringing Karen back. I thought she was one of the strengths of the initial show. Is she? Well, she was very good. I thought she was from that football show. She might be from that too.
Might be that.
What, Friday Night Lights?
Yeah.
Okay. The one thing I was confused upon as we were recapping, they were kind of giving us the events of what had happened in Hawkeye, the show, and how she had shot Wilson Fisk at the end, but and how.
What do you think of his wound?
I was like, how did he get shot in the face and live? I'm still confused by that. But my question is more about Maya's father and his death, because it had been almost 2+ years since I watched that show, and they even show us the flashback again in this show, and I was like, that looked like Ronan who stabbed her father through the heart. Was it not? Who kills her father actually? Like an imposter? We don't like. So or do you guys not know? Either?
My memory is
no. I got this. You got this, Jaemeel?
Go ahead.
Ronan was there killing everybody. Yeah. But from what I understand, now I could be wrong with this, they had already killed her father. Kingpin had already put the hit out on him, and like one of the people who killed, like all the people who killed him, were still there. And they got murdered by Ronan. Like it was just like a wacky thing where it all happened at the same time, sort of thing. That's what I understand. Because Kingpin wanted her, or either way, Kingpin wanted her father dead. So if Kingpin knew Ronan was going to show up there and just like let him get. But Hawkeye says he didn't kill him, so I believe Hawkeye.
Cassie.
So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Cassie. Did Cassie kill the father?
Cassie put a hit out on the father.
Yeah,
right?
Cassie was the right,
and he hired Eleanor
of Kingpin.
Not hired Eleanor. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I guess I found all that recap confusing because I was just like, okay, so Hawkeye, who as Ronin killed a lot of people, right? But not this specific guy, or it was
No, but he would have.
He would have. He totally
He
would
would have.
You
Yeah.
know, right? But it turns out no. Wilson Fisk was going to kill him anyway, or already had, and then Ronin just happened to be there, or whatever. Yeah. So Maya's rage gets directed towards Wilson Fisk, and she shoots him at the end of that Hawkeye show, and that's where this picks up on. But I was like, and then we get all this backstory.
Some of the scenes between the two of them were pretty great, though. Like I thought, like. Because it was awkward because they should want to kill each other, but they're still trying to act familial in certain ways. It was very good, I thought.
Who do you mean?
Echo and Kingpin.
Oh no, I thought their scenes were good as well. I thought there was some fun. Like, I think it just expanded on Kingpin's villainy, I suppose.
Oh, he's bad. He's the new
bad.
big bad on the street level. Like, he's going to be mayor of New York. He's like. They're all going to be gunning for him.
He's like the
Spider-Man's
Trump
going to be
of
gunning for him. Punisher's going to be gunning for him. They're all going to be gunning for him. It's going to be nuts.
And I really like Vincent D'Onofrio's portrayal of the character. I think he's really well suited for this role.
He's so scary. He's just so scary.
But almost has like this vulnerability too, which I like.
Oh yeah.
It's how he's changed physically too. Because if you ever see the Adventures in Babysitting, where Vincent D'Onofrio was like a Thor lookalike or whatever, and now he's Kingpin. It's like, man, this guy's really changed in 30 years. And I guess so. We meet her family in this first episode, including her uncle, who runs like a skate. A roller skate ring,
right?
Make America skate again is the slogan on the wall.
A roller palace of his own.
Roller palace, but it's also like a front for other illegal things going on. And we just see this family's broken. I guess one of the family members I really did like was the grandfather or whoever, Graham Greene, the Canadian.
Oh, Graham Greene, yeah, man,
he was great.
Wasn't technically the grandfather.
He's like, I guess he's her grandmother's boyfriend or something, right?
Or they
not even. He's the pawn shop guy.
Well, in the flashbacks back in 2007, we see that he's there, and that when they were before her mother's killed, and they're all doing sign language. I guess that's my other question: is like, this show is a lot of sign language, a lot of subtitles, and maybe that bugs.
I like that though. I mean, that has its place.
Sure.
I usually watch the subtitles.
The piece of gear that Kingpin gives her, that was pretty cool. Like,
which she threw away.
She did, but it was pretty cool to allow like the audience.
Yeah. Why would she throw that away? That's like the most. She's like, I know
it's obviously got a tracking device.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, okay. All right, that's true. I'll give you that. But I was like, otherwise, this would be a cool thing to keep.
Oh yeah, otherwise you get the tracking over there, keep her.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's this first episode. We get some hints here about, like, I guess the mystical, like, sort of ancestry powers.
Is it mystical?
I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? Because you have an opinion.
The oldest one back we see seems to be doing some sort of ritual. It seems to stem from that.
It's like
it's
like
done
a
up in the makeup
story?
and the blue and stuff.
The Choctaw gods, I guess, if you will, the creators of the world.
Now, it could end up being connected to something like Kahori, where it's like some residue effect of like tesseract and tainted water source or something. They could go that way or something. I doubt it.
What happened?
But I think it's mystical.
I think it's similar to what happened in with Namor.
Could be like in the same
I
sense
felt
that
like that coming it seems very similar.
Thor and Odin, they're not actually gods in the MCU. They're kind of like an alien that seem godlike, right? They're
aliens.
And so maybe this is just another. You can explain it with science, I guess. Is maybe like how you.
But it's like interdimensional. They're from a realm, not a planet.
A realm, right? Yes. Yeah. And then they became like her ancestors. Those people became humans, or her ancestors, right? Like, it's kind of what we're told, and that's part of what's going on in the show.
I gathered it stems from that, though. Maybe I'm wrong, but I felt like she was doing some sort of thing there.
Kind of told as a story, as opposed to a flashback.
Like that first one started the echo. The first one that made that first strike that echoes, and I think that's all you're supposed to gather. Like whatever, like the note was struck in that fire. or
Yeah,
whatever.
and in this first episode, it's a lot of setup and kind of setting the table. And at the end of it, the big reveal is, oh, Wilson Fisk is not dead, which we kind of knew. But I was like, how did he survive being shot in the face? And the answer is,
People do.
people do.
They
I
killed
guess.
too many great villains in the MCU. They can't kill Kingpin too. Like
He
they
doesn't
should never
even
kill
lose his
Cottonmouth. He was so good.
He doesn't
Well, he's
even lose
played
his
now, I guess.
eyeball in the process. I thought, I was like, well, she's not
Well-
much of a shot.
Didn't he?
He did
I don't
lose his
know.
eye.
Yeah, I don't feel like there was an eye in there.
What was it, a glass eye that he had the rest of there?
I didn't think. I thought it just looked like a gross open wound, didn't it?
No, he had
And
he
then-
had two
and
eyes.
then
but-
eventually-
And then he put in.
And then
Go ahead.
she healed him at the end.
she did
Yeah.
heal him at the end. Okay, so I don't know.
That's a twist on her powers too.
yeah.
But the whole thing is because she just has these 5 different
Yeah, let's get
abilities
to
from
the
her
end, though.
ancestors.
Okay, so
But I
episode
thought that
two-
was so unique. Like, there's a few times in the MCU where they've made powers so much better. Miss Marvel's powers are better. These ones are way better. I really like this. It's so unique. Like there's a lot of samey superpowers in comics, and
Okay.
this one's kind of truly unique. I think.
Just,
we talk
just
about
wait
we talk about
until-
episode 2.
Yeah,
for a
just wait until the mutants come and we have so many psychics.
Now, episode 2,
Oh,
I think
I can't wait.
I anytime I see like how many we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's 5 episodes.
6. No. 6 right 7, 8, 9. 9 writers on this second episode.
What?
Credited. Yeah. Like a lot of different
Well, a lot of these could be. I'm not sure, but they did a lot of consultation with like native groups and native bands,
Which is
to
good
get all this
because-
stuff right, and they might have gave them writing credits.
Yeah.
Well, the second episode, okay, it starts off in a flashback in 1200 AD, Alabama. Basically, there's a version of, I thought it was lacrosse. They're describing it here as Choctaw stickball. 2 tribes where the loser.
Well,
team-
the totally the like precursor to lacrosse.
yeah,
for
like a
sure.
version of lacrosse.
Yeah.
Where
was
the
cool.
losing team gets banished from the lands forever. And okay, so I'd say that this scene, I got it. Okay, I'm gonna say something controversial here.
Is
Here
it?
we go. I think that they cast people who are of specifically native or Aboriginal descent who
To play natives.
to play natives. Some of them looked super white, probably because they are. Some of them were super overweight. It didn't look like they belonged in 1200 AD, Alabama, working on there. I was like, you guys are really taking me out of this scene with this.
You thought everyone
casting
should be
choices.
quite sinewy.
Well, they looked like a bunch of like people they just picked up somewhere and like threw them in
They probably are. They're just extras, right?
extras, but like they didn't look period accurate. Okay, is how I felt
Okay.
about it.
Did you crack open a book to double check?
this
Check
not
the
occur
obesity
to you
rates
guys?
back in. I didn't notice actually. Like
Same thing.
I've seen
Look,
a ton of historical things, and I'm a bit of a history buff. And there's always been fat people. there's always
That
been like
fat? That
Yeah,
fat
why
in
not?
1200 AD in
the ruling. The upper class has always been well fed.
he was a really good hunter.
wow. Okay. And
I didn't notice. I swear I didn't
Yeah,
notice
Dave,
at all.
I'm-
I'm actually kind of
Same
like
boat.
surprised what you're talking about.
Look,
but it's
Dave,
funny.
I'm gonna
I'm enjoying it.
probably go watch that episode again and look at.
I am too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
want to
was just
see
like,
a period inaccurate lacrosse game.
it was more just who they chose to be the extras. More in like not in the game itself, but more in like the people watching it around. And I was just there's a lot of close-ups and whatever. And I was like, okay, these are people who are actually Aboriginal, but don't look like they belong in this year.
It's half the cast of Res Dogs.
Maybe, so
It is. I love Res Dogs.
Res Dogs. I don't know it. So
Reservoir Dogs or Reservation Dogs, I should say.
I know
Devin,
Reservoir
Devin,
Dogs, the
you're-
Quentin
you're-
Tarantino movie.
You're absolutely asking the wrong person about if they're watching that show.
You like it,
Dave does not watch that show.
but you do.
Oh, I've never seen an episode. It's on my list.
Oh, really? Oh, get to it. It's great. It's great.
I've heard repeatedly, yeah. Let's continue on. Let's continue on.
Okay,
Alright,
so there's
yeah,
that
yeah,
whole
yeah.
scene. We meet in basically in that
Oh.
that whole scene. Yes,
But while we're speaking of Reservation
I
Dogs,
can't even get to
so-
a sentence before.
I'm
we watch
sorry,
it.
I know, but there's a lot of stuff in this thing that keeps coming to my mind. So the actress who plays, I don't know, is it her sister? She has a
Cousin
sister.
Bonnie?
Right?
Are you
Cousin.
Her
talking about
cousin.
Bonnie?
Yeah, Bonnie.
I forget the name. Yeah, okay. Her cousin, the
Deborah
younger
Jacobs
cousin. Or
plays
whatever.
her.
Yeah, exactly. She's from Reservation Dogs, but she is also the voice of Kahori from our last episode.
Oh, was she? Oh, that's this. Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay.
So, which is interesting because I thought I'm actually
Deborah
quite
Jacobs.
certain they'll make Kahori live action character eventually, and I thought they would cast her. But now that she's this other character in the MCU, now I don't know.
Well, there's been some precedent for playing two roles.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. True.
It does happen a little bit. Who am I thinking of? Michelle Yeoh, maybe more notably having been in Shang-Chi and in
she's Mohawk.
What else was
she's
she
actually-
in?
Deborah Jacobs is Mohawk.
Yeah, Deborah Jacobs is Mohawk.
And so is
she's
Kahori.
been in American Gods, Mohawk Girls, The Order.
Oh, Michelle Yeoh was in Guardians of the Galaxy for a brief second too. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm like she's been two roles. There's been a few others though. Anyway, so then the other part of the second episode is we see basically Maya blows up one of Wilson Fisk's warehouses in New York. Basically, she's declaring war because the other thing in the first episode, she's like, I don't want a kingpin, I want to be the queen pin. And she wants to sort of be the new mob boss or whatever is her aspiration. So she declares a war here, and her uncle, was like, I don't want a war coming here to Oklahoma and blah blah blah. And, that's kind of what all kind of unfolds here. Is that now? Well, the Wilson Fisk organization is mad. They're coming after Maya. And
what do you think of the kind of lead henchman that comes walking in? He was
he was scary. I thought he was good. Yeah, he was
great.
Good.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I couldn't tell you who he was or like his name or anything like that. But he was really like
a
that
good
scene
heavy.
When he shows up at the roller park. Is that in the second episode or is it in the third episode?
Yeah, I think so. It's pretty early, isn't it? He just shows up and he's just like, oh, and then they end up like everyone ends up bloody as hell. That's like it's crazy, but yeah.
Yeah, so there's that declaration of war. It knows it's going to get bad. There's more family drama, kind of explaining that the grandmother is on the outs with Maya because they never really talked after she went to New York, and there's a lot
Was her name
because
Chula's
her grandmother. Yeah, Chula.
She was great. She was really good in this, I thought.
Because her Maya's mother was killed in the car accident, and that's her daughter, so she doesn't forgive her father for it, and there was kind of like this falling out.
And we never get, or do we? Do we ever find out if her mother had any? Oh, her mother has the healing powers, right?
Yeah.
She also had it. Yes.
We never find out if Chula has any powers.
Well, we kind of see it at the end in the final scene, like battle.
No, that's
she does.
gifting
that's
her
the
powers.
echo.
Oh, she gives it to her.
She can. That's a part of her powers, so she can echo it out.
Yeah,
and she gives Deborah Jacobs and Chula
Maybe,
powers.
yeah. It's kind of implied she has sort of a connection to the past, but I don't know. Maybe not the powers that Maya has. Okay.
I feel like she's got something though, and like it maybe like a later version of this character in either a season 2 or some other thing. Like we might see it. Like she'll have this other power we haven't seen yet, and that's Chula's power.
Yeah,
that's my guess.
And my main thing with the second episode is that Chula and Bonnie, Maya doesn't want to talk to either of them, because for different reasons, and so she's like, that's kind of how the second episode I think ends.
She feels abandoned because they just left her with a friggin' mob boss in New York.
Yeah. Right.
They're like, you seemed fine. She's like, well, I wasn't fine. I was with a mob boss in New York. He made me a killer. Like, what are you talking
with the
about?
tracksuit mafia. What do you want from me?
Yeah, seriously, bro.
Which you could kind of understand why Chula did, right?
Yeah, no, I understood Chula's why she struggled with all that
because she didn't want to bring that life back to the town and the village. So
yeah, no, I got it. I understood the family drama and tension that was building there. Okay, third episode. Let's bring up that one called Tuklo. Which is all another flashback sequence, late 1800s. Tuklo is another woman ancestor of Maya, was part of the, helping her practice shooting with her father. They're called the Light Horsemen, who were sort of like this vigilante group that hunted down. Like,
no, they were the police. That was a real thing.
They were the police. Okay.
Yeah, a real thing. Like in Reservoir Dogs, there's a ghost that always shows up, and he's like, he's a light horseman.
Okay. And
Reservation Dogs. Did I say Reservoir again?
Yeah, you did, but it's okay. I knew what you meant, but yeah. So she's like, "Oh, I want to join the Light Horsemen," and he's like, "No, men are destroyers, women are life givers, or something. Men are life takers, women are life givers. So that you can't be in the Light
That's
Horsemen."
a pretty sexist attitude, I
Yes.
think.
Sexist attitude these Choctaws have. I gotta tell you. But she ends up saving her father, right? Like,
Yeah, they get ambushed, and she comes in with the save.
right.
She's a crack
And
shot.
it's all like in black and white and sort of in this old silent movie style. The way that they present all that. And,
I enjoyed these flashbacks. They all seeed a little different in their direction and different things. And I thought
this one was
a
okay.
very good show. I thought.
I did like the stickball game, except for some of the extras choices.
I know.
Honestly.
This is the best nitpick ever. I enjoy it.
It's like these are not 1200 AD people.
I just see Dave there throwing his hat down, watching it. Just, I can't believe this.
I can't believe this. This takes me right out of it. But I don't know. That was just sort of like okay. Anyway, so this one was better for me in some ways because it didn't at least have that.
Didn't have stickball.
Yeah, but I like the stickball. I was like, all right.
I like the braiding scene. That was very powerful.
Yeah. Maya. Okay, so what happens after? Scully is visited by Chula, who encourages her to reach out to Maya. Who's Scully?
Scully's this pawn shop guy.
Yeah.
Oh, Graham Greene, right?
Graham Greene.
So Graham Greene, yeah.
Canada's own legend.
Canada's own.
Canada's Canadian legend.
He was also on the Red Green show.
Oh
Coincidentally.
yeah, definitely.
But it wasn't the title character. So there was that. Maya receives a vision from
That would be
Chafa
Steve Smith.
Loaka. So she starts getting more of these visions from her ancestors. Vicky is revealed to be in allegiance with Fisk, having tipped off. Oh, so Vicky was this guy who works at the roller skate park.
Which immediately, once you saw this man, he's like, he is going to die. He's dying.
Oh yeah, he was a complete mark from the beginning. Because
Northern Exposure, also Graham Greene, classic show.
That's right. He was Dances with Wolves. Many different.
And the best part of The Last of Us.
He was in The Last of Us. Yeah,
there was an episode.
You watched that?
Just him in Northern Exposure. Yeah, him and the Northern Exposure episode was the best one by far.
Yeah. She's like, there are Firefly people, and they start laughing. That was the best.
I haven't seen The Last of Us yet.
Oh, okay.
Watch it just for that episode.
I'm going to play the game first.
4th episode. Oh, I wouldn't. But anyway. So Vicky was this guy who works for her uncle, and he's a dick, and he's a kind of a redneck, and he wants to cash in the bounty on Maya's head. So he calls up Fisk's men, and they end up coming down.
Which he does in the first episode.
Like, fool. They even tell him, like, you're such a fool.
You're such an idiot. You are going to get
Why would they give you any money when it's easy to just kill you? Like,
and then when Zane comes in, which is the hired hand, the head, he just absolutely controls, and you know from the get that Vicky made a big mistake.
He wants Vicky to know he made a big mistake. Yeah. He's just like, immediately, he's just like, I want you to know that we're definitely going to kill you after all of this. Like, no, that's why that guy was so creepy. He wasn't trying to hide anything. He's just like, yeah, we're going to kill everyone in here and take your money.
Yeah. You know, like he's got a couple of his, like, I guess they're his sisters or these two women with him who capture her uncle and Maya, and they are basically holding them for the ransom. And then her cousin shows up, Bonnie, and then she gets also taken hostage, and all that. And then there's a lot of fighting. Basically, most of the episode takes place at the skate park. I want to call it a bowling alley, but it's a roller park.
Skate rink.
Roller rink. Yeah, I used to go to them here. We had one in Burlington. I went to a lot in high school. It doesn't exist anymore, but those were good times. Then that scary guy we saw in the second episode who survived the bombing, he's mostly here, and he's like really good in this episode, really scary. And just when they're like, they finally defeat Maya, because Maya kind of puts on, she kills a few of the guys, and Vicky died, by the way, which we kind of saw that coming. And then, but they eventually
had it coming.
They subdue her, and it looks like Maya and her uncle are dead. They're lost the fight, and then at just that minute, a call comes in, and they're told to leave. And her uncle's like, only one guy could have called them and called them off, and it had to be Wilson Fisk. But she still thinks he's dead, right? So she finds out he's still alive here.
I love that she starts packing up, and she's like, "I'm gonna get, like, we're done." And then she gets to her, bike. And then he's just there. and you're just like, oh shoot, right?
Kingpin is so good, and they're handling him so well on screen.
Yeah, well, I was like, I needed more. I like that he's not in it a ton in one sense, but when he gets to the show in the next episode, I'm like, okay, now the show's really going.
Well, if they follow the comics at all, Dave, you can, let your heart be filled, because that's how he's used in the comics generally. He's used sparingly, and when he shows up, every scene he's in is amazing.
Yeah,
like,
well,
so
that's
if they go that route.
Fourth episode, Taloa, which is not a flashback of her ancestor or whatever. This one is about her and Wilson Fisk getting the ice cream in 2008, I guess shortly after she got to New York. And so there's this ice cream vendor, but she's deaf and she doesn't know, he doesn't understand it. So the ice cream vendor is kind of mean to her and rude, and Wilson Fisk doesn't like this, and she didn't like it either. And so Wilson Fisk is like, hold on, and then he goes around the corner and beats the shit out of this guy. We get to see how strong he is, because Wilson Fisk sometimes mischaracterized as being overweight, but he's actually full muscle. He's like this super strong, powerful fighter,
and trained in sumo and all kinds of different martial arts as well.
Yeah. He
formidable
has viciousness in this. He's a formidable fighter, despite not having superpowers, really.
But he has that rage strength, like
the
trauma strength. He just goes into these like traumatic rage fits, and then you're screwed. He'll crush your skull or something. Or like that scene in Daredevil where he just bashes that guy's head in the door. You remember that?
Yeah.
That was crazy. That's Kingpin.
So there's that whole part where he's beating up the ice cream guy, and then she's covered in blood, and then he didn't want Maya to see it, but she does, and then she goes and kicks the guy and kind of picks up some of his cruelty, I guess, wanting to get revenge on those who had disrespected her. And then
so just like her ancestors, she also picked up an echo from Kingpin.
True. Okay, there you go. He's the other one.
That's
and
very well said, Jaemeel. Makes me love this show even more.
Flashbacks, another flashback, I guess, when Maya's older, where they're having dinner together, and Wilson Fisk always has this sign language translator, in the background, who can, convey what he's saying to Maya, and then he can and what Maya's signing back, right? And then he's like, "Okay, you're dismissed," and then they take the interpreter around the corner, and it's just plastic. It's like, no, but Maya wouldn't hear it, right? And so. But
like, she understands the lesson, because the lesson was that only they can trust each other.
Oh, we can, no outsiders. Yeah. We can only trust each other. And this is where, because Wilson Fisk then in I guess the present day, he shows up in Oklahoma. He sticks her with that device, the contact lens that will do like the sign language for him. And,
/tracking
device. But I was like, that's kind of if that actually existed in real life, that would be pretty cool.
Revolutionary.
They probably have something near to it. It's just probably too expensive or too slow to fully implement.
Totally not out of the realm of technology right now.
Because this is American Sign Language, which I guess I don't know how many versions of sign language there are, but
there are for almost every single language and country.
So there'd be like a Chinese Sign Language, and so
Canadian Sign Language as well.
Canadian Sign Language.
Yep.
Though they mostly use ASL up here.
Yeah,
there are pushes to have more of the Canadian lingo, a separation of the sort. I'm currently at my workplace. We have a associate who cannot speak. He is deaf, and he signs, and he does a lot of initiatives and education for the Canadian Sign Language. So.
Does it like allow for more French or something?
There's a U in the word. There's a U in like color and stuff like that. But otherwise, it's the same. Yeah, like I think what's cool about sign language is that like it potentially has this ability to like tear down other like verbal language forms, right? And people from whatever background could communicate, but maybe they don't. Maybe it's too specific to your culture or your language, so they have to have all these variations. But
it isn't a one-to-one to language though. So even though just because you might know ASL or CSL, doesn't necessarily mean that you can just read, English.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So he gives her the device, and she's still pissed at him, but he doesn't kill her. But he wants her to come back to New York with him.
She's a good assassin.
Yeah, she gets more visions from.
And he likes her. He does think
Yeah,
of her
he
as a
generally
family.
does care about her. It's clear,
Yeah.
right?
Even after being shot in the face.
Even after being shot in the face, there's
But he demands control of all situations.
yeah, he's still a
That's the
really
kingpin.
bad guy, and she can sense that. But she has this conflicted relationship with him that goes back to her childhood, which I think they do a good job explaining.
Which
And,
also from his end, if we are following the Netflix storyline, he doesn't have Vanessa anymore.
Nope.
So she
And they
is,
canonized all that.
yeah. So she is the only thing, technically, the person that he would love or trust. Right. So
yeah,
that also shows his desperation to make this work.
Yeah, this is an off the rails kingpin.
yeah, he was more unhinged, I'd say. There's also a scene here between Maya and Chula where like they kind of hash out all of their baggage and past, and by the end of it, Maya's pissed at her. She doesn't really accept Chula's explanation,
Which is great because it would feel too easy if like their first like confrontation is like, oh, everything's fine. You
I
know?
thought it was going to go that way. And then she just walks out, and I was just like, oh, shit.
Yeah, no, it
That's
wasn't
Maya.
resolved.
That's her character. Like, she's very, very hard-headed and begrudging.
Not very forgiving,
Which is,
I would say.
makes her unique in amongst kind of the MCU characters right now.
Right.
I really like what they've done with this character.
But so and Chula starts after this scene start working on her like special outfit, which will become sort of her superhero costume.
Which is beautiful. I quite liked it.
That night, Maya goes to Fisk's hotel with the intention of killing
Jimmy,
him.
well, not so much.
So Maya goes to kill Fisk at the hotel, and then he shows her the hammer and he has in this box because in an earlier flashback he said he had this pain of losing his own father, but we find out he killed his own father because his father beat his mother, and he carried
Saw.
Even if he goes to Oklahoma, he brings this hammer with him, and he offers it to Maya. He's like, "Kill me with it," but she doesn't.
That was a crazy scene.
Yeah.
I loved that scene.
Right, because he knows Maya could kill him, but he there's more to their relationship than that, and she
Could
kinda-
she? That's a fight. That's a fight. Like
If
she
she hit him
shot
in
him in
the
the
head-
face, sure.
if
but,
he
like,
let her hit him in the head with a hammer, I
Oh.
think he.
oh sure.
But
Yeah.
it's also he's trying his best to show that he trusts her. Right? Right? So
Yeah, well, he's
Even though
trying,
she can't. It's
He's
all
trying to. He's
bullshit.
trying to. Repairing this relationship is incredibly important to him. Clearly.
Yeah.
For whatever
Yeah.
any way he can do it.
Which is kind of hard to grasp. It seems like more than you'd expect. You're like, he's really into this. He really wants this relationship or like her back. And it's just like, why? But
well,
he has
wants
this.
her-
It's the familial connection. Like it's interesting.
and because
to
she
get
is such a like she is a ruthless killer. Let's face it, and like sort of got a lot of efficient and
quiet
she-
assassin.
If she's on his side, he's that much more powerful, right? Like so, that's why he doesn't. He's got a lot of investment in her too. Many years. Emotionally.
He also has a lot of
and-
investment, which we've seen from Daredevil and Hawkeye. He has a lot of investment in people he already has dirt on.
Right.
He's like, I've already gone through the motions of getting all the dirt on you. Just work for me. Just work for me, and it'll be fine. Like,
But why did he
but-
kill Why did he kill Maya's father? It's never really explained. Like
he wanted out.
He wanted out, but so did the uncle, and I guess the uncle
But the
backed
uncle-
down,
Yeah,
and he did it.
the uncle acquiesced.
The uncle acquiesced.
but didn't the uncle leave after his brother died? Yeah.
he left New York, but not working for Fisk.
Mm-mm.
Well, he couldn't.
He tried, but it didn't work
Yeah.
out.
But he thought being not in New York was at least going to keep him a little safer. Maybe there's some logic to that. Maybe not. But so by the end, so it seems like Fisk might be convincing Maya, but she ends up leaving town by the end of that episode. Yep.
But in the mob regards and stuff like that, like the way they were portraying Maya's father, he's definitely the kind of person somebody like Kingpin would expect to maybe be ratting out to the cops, like
Right.
have taken such a deal, right? So he
Yeah.
just became a liability. You
Yeah.
couldn't trust
Right. And
because his heart wasn't in it.
yeah, exactly. So he's pissed. So Kingpin's pissed off by the end of the episode, because Maya's left. She's not there. So and that kind of sets up the final episode titled Maya.
I love this
flashback.
episode. I don't know why it's getting Jaemeel. Why is this episode getting the flack?
From the general public?
Well, even you, I said it's the best one. You're like,
Okay. I'm gonna be in Dave territory now with a minor quibble.
All right.
When the Echo goes through her family, and to see Chula just turn around and person handle the thug, that looked. I think they should have worked.
She has a past in this. Like
I know
she's got
she has
some
a
sort of
past.
power or something.
I just felt that it didn't look like they should have redone it because it didn't look right.
I actually didn't know what you're saying. I had a split second of that where I'm like, she clued into all this real fast. Like her hands start to glow for a second, and all of a sudden she's like, pow, 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 pow. But and then it makes more sense for Devery Jacobs because she sees Chula do it. She's like, oh, okay. Yeah. But like, yeah, you're okay.
It just felt for such a climactic moment. It just seemed like that's kind of Mr. Mark. Like I like the show in general. I think it's fantastic. I don't necessarily care that it's connected to the MCU, and I think that's kind of the point about it. I'm invested and interested in what's happening with these specific individuals. Spider-Man could be swinging somewhere; it doesn't really matter. Like
the end credit scene is the connection.
Yeah,
which is what will be on YouTube and what people will fast forward to in Disney Plus. So.
This final episode focuses a lot on her relationship with her mother, Maya's mother, who, before she's killed, she's like the other ancestor, or
she's Maya's heart too. Like she's the good part of Maya. That's like echoing.
You see, Maya almost kills a woodpecker with a slingshot as a kid, and then her mom
on purpose, and then lies about it.
About it. But her mom, we see that her mom has had this healing power, right? She heals the bird, so that's kind of, maybe there's something to this family.
Which the MCU doesn't have yet. It doesn't really have a healer. I mean, there's lots of mutants that do it, but
right.
That's
it's a neat power. Yeah. And
a mutant for everything.
Do you think that Maya could end up being a mutant, or do you think this is something else?
No.
Okay.
It's that mystical fire. With the blue paint. It's blue paint mixed with fire. If you cover yourself in blue paint and start a fire, you can start an echo of superpowers through your family line.
Kids, don't do this at home, please.
What? Do it.
Don't stop, Devin.
What?
Don't tell kids to cover themselves in blue paint and catch themselves on fire.
Why not? Please. I didn't say catch yourself on fire. You added that part, Jaemeel. Kids, don't listen to Jaemeel.
Don't set yourself on fire.
Don't make yourself blow. Don't do that either.
All right.
The Blue Man worked for the Blue Man Group.
We find out that after we see the flashback with her mom healing the woodpecker, her Biscuits, one of the other cousins of Maya, calls up. He's kind of like, I don't know how to characterize him exactly, but he's kind of like the dim-witted one. But
when he goes rocking in,
minded individual with a heart of gold,
with a good heart. Yeah, I guess that's kind of his role.
Like, you have a weapon on you? He's like, no, but I'm sitting in a monster truck. He's like, I got something even better. Like, that was pretty great.
The question is, did he sell his PS? His PlayStation, was he able to get the money for that?
Well, he's the one who ends up telling Bonnie that Maya's back, and that's it. What ends up getting Bonnie taken hostage in the third episode. So there's just sometimes he steps in it.
But in this episode too, isn't it creepy? Like that super creepy. What's his name again? The bad guy,
Zane.
Zane is just like sitting on top of the camper, just sitting there the whole time. The big so he's just sitting on his camper, just waiting.
He gets Maya to come back because we find out Chula and Bonnie have both been taken hostage by Kingpin. Not a huge surprise because of how mad Kingpin was that she didn't go along. And then there's this Choctaw powwow festival coming up, which kind of is the setting for like the final confrontations that will happen between Fisk and Maya and all them. Oh, and there's a scene before that where Maya got her outfit. She goes to Chula's house. Chula's not there, but she ends up seeing, I guess, the ghost of her mother or the spirit of her mother or some kind of vision. And this is where she kind of finds out about her line and getting in touch with her powers. And then she.
I like the outfit. However, the one thing that's most iconic about the Echo look, which I wish they would have included, is, as you see to my left here, is the handprint. Yeah. And there wasn't any handprints that I noticed in this show, and I would have liked that because it looks cool, man. This looks super cool. It's one of the best things about her look.
Yeah. I think that the costume is looking good on the mannequin. It just seems really bulky on Maya.
Yeah, I mean they often do because they use that thick leather and whatever.
Yeah, that's my only issue. It does. It
She just needed a handprint.
fantastic. Yes, fantastic.
Yeah, I don't have a great shot of it here. I'm trying to see if I can find something a little nicer, but one sec. Here we go. Like there's, you can see a little bit of the top of it there. Or
Great costume design in this show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It feels authentic. It's nice. It feels like a real world.
I know you're trying to get that one specific image.
I know, but it will show it to me. Here it goes. See if this one works.
You have to scroll all the way.
You do not have the rights. Everything's been copyrighted.
That's okay.
The mouse is looking at us right now. Anyway. People have watched it. There it is. Yeah, that's a good shot there.
It is.
Yeah,
but anyway, that the costume, it's all the festival's happening, and then the fireworks are going off, but guns are going off, and it's
if you think about it, Fisk was going scorched earth. You think about it, kill her cousin, her grandmother, and then almost everyone from that town, from that village, was gonna be all gone.
Her whole band.
he was like, gonna commit a genocide, basically.
But it's the craziest thing is Buddy's sitting on the friggin' camper just watching the whole time, and her uncle's sitting or standing down in the crowd watching that guy the whole time. So it's just like, and then when he finally takes the shot and he looks and sees that Buddy's already got him in his sights, he's just like, shit. He's like, I definitely can't outshoot him at this point. I'm screwed. And then,
Yeah, the final confrontation between Fisk and Maya, where she kind of heals him with his trauma of helping him let go of his anger. Then he's like, "What did you do to me?" But the police show up. Oh, and then I guess Maya also kind of activated Chula and Bonnie and gave them the ability to kind of help fight some of Fisk's men in the process. Am I missing anything?
No, that's.
Did you guys not shed a little tear at the scene when all her ancestors join her beside her? And
I didn't shed a tear there. I thought that actually what she did with Fisk was more interesting, and it was more personal, right, to her story versus sort of this.
Oh, healing him in what?
Healing him and not beating him with fists, but beating him with love, basically.
Yeah.
I thought that
which is not going to have the desired effect that she's expecting that to have. He's going to be every bit the monster after that he was before that.
Right.
It's not going to do anything.
It does bring an interesting situation where wouldn't be surprised if you see her come back later on,
and it might make him more cerebral. Like if it did heal that trauma, then he's not subject to PTSD or whatever anymore. He's just he's
more calculated, less
monster.
Rage, less easy to provoke.
Makes him more dangerous and makes him capable of running for mayor.
Right. Which is the post-credit scene, which we mentioned that there's no front runners, and who's going to come out here? And he's just like, oh, maybe me. And I was like, okay, well, I guess this is an interesting thing to do with the character because did that happen in the comic books where Kingpin becomes
did
of
absolutely.
So hey, and that's
it was called Shadowland. That story.
Yeah,
Shadowland. Otherwise, we didn't talk about a lot about the fight between Daredevil and Maya in the first episode. Is maybe the only thing I wanted.
Which they advertised this show based upon that.
Yeah,
that's
they were
all
big
I was
on
seeing.
It was short.
It was short and kind of forgettable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think it was forgettable at all. Everyone kept on saying, "Oh, I love the way that she kind of she didn't follow through with the initial kick, and then Daredevil tries to back away, and then she actually hits him. She was smart enough to kind of stagger the kick to hit him. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting choice."
And people kept comparing it to the hallway scene in Daredevil. It's like you can't compare every fight scene to the best fight scene in the MCU. Get out of here,
right? Well, maybe they went too big too fast. But I guess in the comic books, Maya's deaf, Daredevil blind. How do these two communicate?
Well, Daredevil has other abilities, and so does she.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think that's going to maybe be hard to show on screen unless there's something in the comic books they can kind of pull out or something. But
It's
Well, Daredevil can essentially see.
yeah.
he can still see. So if she does sign language, he could still do that if he learned it.
Likely so.
Okay,
And knowing him, he probably learned sign language. So
probably he's a smart guy, lawyer, college educated, all that. Okay, and
Not to mention she could just like throat words and he would hear them. Like she doesn't even have to like.
Oh right,
verbalize the words.
she could, yeah, and she does that sometimes when she's doing her sign language.
Yeah,
Kinda will-
she could just mouth words and he would hear it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's the show. In terms of what happened, you know, like
Dave,
what else?
did you think it was good or did you think it was bad?
I think it was more. I think it was sort of. I was trying to think where I wanted to put this, and maybe we can do our ratings right now.
Just do it up.
Let's do it
My
up.
laptop's about to die. I left the plug upstairs.
All right. Let's do that. Because I was like,
It's
okay,
already gone dark.
I was looking at what I had rated things previously. I was like, this is better than Secret Invasion, which was I did not like.
Oh my god, you're starting there. It's better than a lot of things.
It's not okay. Was it better than the Marvels? I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe not for me. I would think I'd rather.
Really?
Wow.
Okay, and I like the Marvels. I gave it a pretty
I
high
did too.
rating.
So I think I'm
Yeah.
around a 4 for this. You know,
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait,
Wow.
a number 4?
Correct.
Wow. It's out of 10, Dave.
I know.
Okay.
Jaemeel, where would you put it
8.1.
for the guy who gave Secret Invasion a 5? Okay. And
I think it's. I felt as strongly about it as Black Panther too.
as Black Panther 2, which you gave an 8.1. Okay, yeah, so here you are. I liked Black Panther more than this. So, Davan, I'm guessing like 9, 10.
Actually, no. I like Jameel's
8?
reasoning there. I liked it right at what I liked Black Panther too. So I usually don't do 0.5s, but 8.5.
8.5. Well, okay, so
Yeah.
you guys are averaging 8 point whatever.
Well,
8.3.
Let me tell you, like Dave, I liked the character before from the comics, and I was so underwhelmed with the Echo character in Hawkeye. I was expecting to not like this show very much. I was expecting it to be a bit of a drudge, but I was very pleasantly surprised.
I liked it better than I thought. So if that's any
4.0.
You were expecting what, a 2?
I wouldn't even have made it. Like, you know, like so I was just like, this is all gravy, I guess. And if I like it a little bit, then great.
You know what? That says something to Marvel though too. I wouldn't have made this either, but I'm glad they did. So Marvel might have had a bit of wisdom there.
Yeah, I liked it more than Secret Invasion, which I didn't like.
I would say that let's not give credit where it isn't due. This is due to the individuals who worked on a specific project as opposed to the individuals who commissioned it, I will say. Because they commissioned a whole bunch of other things, right? The individuals involved who put the care and time into this was the ones who, because this easily could have been just complete trash.
Yeah. Like it was okay. Okay. Like, well, Echo is a solid 8 from Murphy. Do I have a Murphy rating in here? I might.
Murphy, they downgraded her superpowers. They made her street level from not being street level. So
8? Is that what he gave it?
He gave it an 8.
Okay.
Lord, you just dropped it so far that it's not going to be able to climb back up.
Well,
I
you know,
know it's 7.
Yikes.
Guys, I think you were a little too high, quite frankly. But you know, if you liked it, you liked it. Like, who am I to argue? So, I don't.
Wow, it's so low. It's like
I will never watch this again.
Oh, it was way better than What If season 2.
Look, it was not. What If was much better.
Oh my god, it's only 1 point better than the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
And that's because I gave Guardians of the Galaxy a 9.8 and you gave it a 1. So sometimes we don't see eye to eye. That's how it goes here.
I'm like, I like this so much that I went back and started watching Hawkeye again.
too much.
I wanted to. I had that same urge. I just didn't have the time. Yeah.
Okay, well, like I don't know.
Dave, we're not trying to drag you through the mud. We're just
No.
pointing out this observation.
It's got me extra hyped for Born Again. And I was hyped for that anyway. I mean, it's Daredevil Born
not
Again. What
hyped
more
up
hype
for
do you need?
Madam Web?
Quiet Murphy, we need your rating to cancel.
Yeah,
those
you need
days,
to counteract mine. So it's going.
It was
in there.
immediately.
Oh, it all makes sense now.
Dave is just a Karen. I must be. That's how it
will be if a particular team doesn't win tonight.
Only if the 49ers
Actually,
don't win.
Sam, the list of people on Earth who aren't Karens is shorter than your list of Karens. So can you just give us the list of people
The
who
non-Karens, please?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just get the lists. Now I'm on the Karens list. God damn it. All right.
Yeah, we're all Karens.
I take it back, Sam.
The millionaire and his wife.
Well, speaking of which,
Dave's got to go watch football.
I gotta go watch football. My team's in the playoffs, and
I'm gonna go watch people beat the shit out of each other in cages.
that's fun.
Sure it is.
Guys, what's our next MCU thing that we'll probably talk about? What do we think that will be? Oh,
there's one movie this year. It's that.
It's Deadpool.
Deadpool. Okay, and that's gonna have Wolverine.
That's exciting. Look, I'm
exciting.
gonna have lots. You thought I had a lot to say tonight. Just wait.
We'll see.
We'll
see.
see. You guys might not even need to be there for the Deadpool one. I'll just talk the whole time.
The non-Karens are Davan, Jaemeel, Adam, Eamon, Jane, and
oh, sweet. Thanks, Sam.
not me. I'm not. Me and
No,
Joey,
you've been declared.
I've been declared. The Cowboys are not better than the 49ers.
Funny how quickly he came up with that list.
Yeah,
He said that for a while.
I remember when the 49ers beat out the Cowboys in the 1994 NFC Championship, and all my friends at school hated me because I was the only 49ers fan.
Was it Joe
Everyone
Montana?
was a Cowboys fan.
Joe Montana is not coming out of that hallway.
That was the Steve Young era. That wasn't the Joe
Sorry,
Montana.
Johnny Unitas, there's a haircut you can set your watch to.
That's okay. I'm going for the Bills because Doug Flutie played for the Bills.
I like that. All right. All right.
Today was supposed to be the first episode of True Currency, but got delayed due to some other issues. But
can't wait for
it. It is coming.
Forward to that for a long time.
The Madam Web review will be on it.
Oh my!
Because I know
You're
it's
actually
going to
watch.
Keep it over there. I don't want anything.
It's not going to be covered here.
Yeah, it's not even a spotlight. It's just a crap money making.
It will have to have the most glowing recommendation ever from your show for me to even watch that movie.
It's Sony and it's live action.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, but imagine if they made it good. Wouldn't that be better? And I would check it out. Okay, guys, gotta get to football. Thanks for sitting down with me and talking about Echo. I'm glad you guys liked it more than me. So it needs fans. All right, and on that note, we'll sign off for tonight. Thanks for being with us. Do we have a? What do we say at the end? Will I see?
We fire up the video.
Yeah, Sam, we will be watching Big Brother Canada 12, but we're probably only doing a couple podcasts, probably just the cast preview and maybe the finale. And we're probably not doing it a week this year because it's just we can't keep up with it.
It's too much.
There might be some brief mentions on True Currency. That's what it's supposed to be there for.
Right. We'll be there. Okay, so see you guys next time here on the Mary Mater Marvel Society. Have a good night and see you next time.
You and I are the same. So, who's the monster?